Hello and welcome to The Last Tackle. Plenty to talk about in the company of Kevin Brown and Adrian Morley. Gents, thanks for coming in. Let's start with the men's competition first of all. And Hull KR once again. I tell you what, another hat-trick for Tom Davies as well. They're on the roll, aren't they, Hull KR?
They are on a roll and people are waiting for him to slip up. Home or away, no matter who their opponents are, they're doing an incredible job. Wakefield went into this game with a great deal of form behind him. I thought it could have been a close one, could have been a tester, but they just proved just why they are top of the table and by a bit of a stretch at the moment. So for everyone else to get up to their level and try and knock off the high flyers.
4-point gap now.
Yeah, I can't see anyone catching them in the league. My question would be, on the day, can Leeds Rhinos or Wigan at their absolute best beat OKR? I still think there is that chance, but consistently what Willie Peters has done, they just don't seem to ease the foot off the gas at all.
And good to watch as well, though. Entertaining as well.
To watch. And there was testing
Mikey
in this
Lewis,
game.
obviously, fantastic.
And Mikey was sin-binned. But even when the good players are missing, I think the sign of a great side is they just keep churning out performances, and whoever does come in just takes the flag and carries that team forward. So I can't say enough about them at the minute. They're probably what everyone's trying to achieve, but at home especially, they just look unbeatable.
It's real progression under Willie Peters, isn't it? Because obviously the Challenge Cup defeat, which was agonising for him, then obviously the grand final, and then go and get the trophy.
Yeah, I think it's great that there's another team in Super League now who are a genuine powerhouse. So they've made 3 major finals in the last few years, winning the Challenge Cup, obviously. So the more of these major finals the team plays in, the better chance they have in the next one. So they'll be, I mean, Brownie said that the favourites for the league leaders, but they don't just want that now. I think they want to go all the way to Old Trafford. I think they want to get their hands on the Super League trophy. So as I say, it's great for the sport, and it's up to the other teams to try and stop the juggernaut.
And off the back of it as well, the amount of attention and appetite they've got in that town or that city for KR. They've got a
what
waiting
they're doing off the
list.
pitch as well is great, isn't it?
They've got a waiting list for season tickets, memberships. They sell out every game. It's phenomenal. Like Mel said, it's absolutely brilliant for the game.
I love what we're doing around the game as well.
Yeah,
because we are it's sport, but it's the entertainment business as well.
Yeah, well, my son, he watches things on TikTok now like they do, and he says he wants me to take him to Hull KR for Craven Street and the fine dining and street food. So yeah, they're doing a lot of things right, Mark.
Right, also last Friday we had Leeds who are beginning to do things right on the pitch as well. I thought going into this, your old club Leeds, I thought this is a barometer where Leeds are at, because these were the games they were losing, weren't they, after going on a little run and then lose one at home. I thought that was a good barometer and a good win for Leeds against Leigh.
It was great. The week before, they'll admit themselves, they were poor against St Helens, and it was really interesting to see how they did bounce back, or if they could bounce back, and they thought they were fantastic to score the amount of points. They did 40-odd points against Leigh, who were going very well. I think Brad Arthur would be really pleased with the result. He won't be pleased. He's a perfectionist. He won't be pleased with the amount of points they let in. Leigh got 30 past the Rhinos. However, he'll be delighted with the win, delighted with the 2 points. And Leeds, they're well up there now, aren't they? You know, they're going about the business very well. And it's took a couple of years, but Leeds are up there where they think they should be. And I think they'll definitely make the playoffs, and there'll be a threat in them playoffs.
A question I've asked loads of times, probably the last 3 or 4 years: where are Leeds at?
Well, the moving forward, I think incrementally under Brad Arthur, the turning from a mid-table team to contenders. I think this weekend's game will really show us where they're at. We've just been mentioning about Hull KR. If they can go there and compete and get that win, then they're the real deal, and they'll be chasing Wigan down for that top 2. I think that's huge. If they can get a top 2 finish, go into the AMT Headingley Stadium as a semi-final, that's a much tougher ask for any team in the competition than obviously going away.
And Jake Connor playing really well.
He's playing fantastically well. Obviously he'll be disappointed he wasn't named in the England squad. He's ahead of the Man of Steel points. He's performing really well. You know, some of the passes he put on, the Callum Watkins try at the end, the pass and the way, the deception on the ball that he's bringing. And he's just found a new vein of life under Brad Arthur, like a lot of the players have. I think, you know, you talk about good coaches. For me, good coaches get the team going well, but collectively and individually they get the best out of them players, and that's what Brad's doing with Jake Connor currently.
And I know we lost to St Helens that you mentioned, but finding a bit of consistency for Leeds this season.
Yeah, that's been their issue, hasn't it? The last couple of years, they'll be great one week and then poor for a number of weeks. But consistency is the key, and Brown has mentioned it. I think he's a top-notch operator. Is Brad Arthur, and it goes to show in the performances, in the results, and they're sitting pretty. And I think they'll go this week full of confidence, and it'll be really interesting to see how they do go.
We'll talk about that game against Hull a little later. Right then, Catalans finally back in the winners' circle, and it was announced this week that Steve McNamara has left.
Finally.
Just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mess, hasn't it? I think it was just a legal battle going on, but yeah, I'm just happy for Joel Tompkins to finally get, probably that clarity and the ownership of that group and getting a win. I think it was a bit of a coin toss going into that game, what Huddersfield had turned up. Obviously they had a couple of really good performances under the belt, but yeah, they probably took a step back there. Luke Robinson won't be happy with that, but for Catalans, consistency is the key now going into the back end of this season. Playoffs may be a stretch, but if they can perform to the back end and give the fans something to cheer about, I'm sure Bernard and Joel will be really happy.
Playoffs probably a bit of a stretch. You'd have to go on quite a run now, wouldn't they, to get into playoffs? Yeah,
well, their playoffs start now, don't they? They have to win every game more or less and hope other teams lose. The way the points difference is and everything, they've got to. It's almost a miracle, but it's improbable, but it's not impossible. And what Joel Tompkins will be saying is, look, let's just take each game as it comes and see if we can knock as many wins off and give ourselves a chance.
And your old club, Warrington, 3 points off the playoffs at the moment, but a win they required, wasn't it, at home to home?
Yeah, I think there was more pressure on this game than any game Sam's been involved with all season. I think they were desperate for the win. The game looked as though they were desperate for the win. They were, a desperate team. Hull have been playing great, but I don't think Hull were particularly strong opponents. But it was a really welcomed win, a relieving win for the club and for Sam as well. So great that they're back to winning ways, because it has been a really tough couple of months for Warrington. And if you look at the squad, it's still a tremendous squad. And if they do get a bit of form and a bit of a boost, there's no reason why they can't A, make the playoffs, and B, do something in them playoffs. So, but I welcomed 2 points, that's for sure.
And that's the first time Matt Duffy, Mark Sneed and George Williams have played with each other since the final. And Moz is absolutely right. I think if them players can all stay on the field and they can get some confidence underneath them. We mentioned before the best of all teams. I think if Warrington's best is produced in a big game, they can beat anyone. Yeah. We saw that in the cup final. Although they narrowly lost the game, they were more than competitive with Hull. So really, really pressure game for Warrington. They got the win, and now they'll want to kick on from that.
And then finally on Saturday, Castleford versus Wigan. And obviously we probably could talk quite at length about this game. I think Castleford were unlucky.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if anyone heard Danny Maguire after the game. He was seething with the referees, and rightly so. There was a call that was completely wrong. A player was held back. The penalty wasn't given. It was a referee's decision that unfortunately gave them the position, Wigan, to mount the challenge. They took the 2 points. They got the ball back and then scored from the next set. So very, very disappointing for Danny. Very, very unlucky. The referees have actually come out and held their hands up and says it was the wrong call. But they had multiple opportunities to win that game. They just couldn't do it. And on the flip side of it, you look at champion sides. Wigan just find a way when they're playing poor. They've done it a couple of times.
Against Huddersfield as well.
Huddersfield a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, they're a champion side, and you can just never finish them off until the Uta goes.
Obviously, Danny's disappointed with the result, but he must be pleased the way Castleford are definitely improving.
Oh, the improvement's been dramatic there at Castleford. Even though they didn't get the 2 points, they was up there with a shout against the current champions. So they're getting a lot more competitive, and I think you'll see them snatch a few 2 points off a lot of the Super League clubs before the end of the year. It was a tough job for Danny, but as long as you're seeing that improvement, I think he can be happy. As disappointed as he was after the game, I think the way they are going, he'll be pleased.
Well, we'll look ahead to round 17 in a few minutes, but it was a big day for St Helens women as they travelled to Wigan last Sunday. It was live here on a Sportsman. It was a 22-all draw. Some moments of magic, including this from Faye Gaskin and Vicky Wakefield.
Gaskin. Couple of show and goes, and it goes herself as she's through the line. Faye Gaskin offload to Whitfield. Whitfield needs support. Is it there? She could go herself. Vicky Whitfield. What a try that is from St Helens. A prop forward flying up the middle of the field.
Absolute cracker live here on the Sportsman. Keep your eyes peeled because we're announcing plenty more live games between now and the end of the season. But a 22-all draw.
Yeah, and everyone wrote Saints off. Obviously, Wigan did a number on them in the cup final, but
big number on them.
Yeah, and it was a big crowd as well. I think it was a record for the women's crowd, over 1,200, which is great at Robin Park, and it took something special from Wigan to come back and get that draw. I think Eva Hunter scored late on to bring the teams level, but some of the play that they're playing now, it's so entertaining to watch, and you can see why there's so much appetite and people going watching the game and supporting the girls.
It's great to see it.
Great to see, and Saints and Wigan, no matter what gender, what age group, there's a huge rivalry, and this was right up there. But you want to see entertainment, you want to see close games, and don't get much closer than a high-scoring draw. But no, it's great that the women's game is going from strength to strength, which is great.
22-all draw, it was an absolute cracker. The men's team were also in action on Sunday as well, at home to Salford. Well, again, as we sit here, we don't really know what's going on at Salford, but I think I was on 2 months ago where you were giving a plea, weren't you, to come and tell the supporters and the players what's going on.
And unfortunately,
we're still in the same situation.
We're exactly the same. We've kicked the can down the road, and what I would say is that team that was out there at the weekend was better than the result. I think mentally it's took its toll on these players now, and we have got to give them a little bit of leeway. But Paul Roll is a fantastic coach, as is Kurt Agata, and they'll demand a little bit more from the team that they have got at their disposal at the minute. But St Helens, they're just really professional. I thought they played some good stuff. I think Tristan Saylor's really stepped up since Jack Wellsby's been injured and took his chance very well.
You obviously live in Salford, Moz, Salford born and bred as well. We know that the HMRC ruling's been put to September. There's talk of bridging loans or whatever.
Yeah.
The new owners are still kicking about. I know you're a fan at the end of the day. From a fan's point of view, they just want clarity, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, it's terrible to see a once proud club to be reduced how they have. They've had the team picked apart. They've performed brilliantly the last couple of seasons, and you just can't compete when you have your best talent took from you. The players and the staff have been paid this month, but no one knows where the money's coming from. And if they could just keep borrowing to pay these pay the players and the staff, they're just going to get themselves in more trouble, aren't they? So the owners need to do what they said they were going to do, put the money in, or just, as you say, be honest, be transparent. We can't get the money, and then you can make another plan then, can't you? But at the minute, we're just no man's land, and these results every week is no good for anyone, no good for the club, no good for the Super League. So it really does need sorting out, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's still watch your space about Salford. We're going to stay in Salford, but in Worsley, Shaun Wane last night had a get-together for his England squad ahead of the Ashes, and Lewis Smith got up with him.
Good to see you. You've got your England team in one place, barring a few obvious NRL admissions. How much do you enjoy these kind of evenings, these kind of days?
I love it, Lewis. It's what the spirit we've built here, and you could tell when we played Samoa and Tonga. There's a real good team spirit. It looks like a club team, and these get-togethers help. I've had a lot of help from the clubs, from the owners, the CEOs, the head coaches. I've been granted 3 two-day camps, but we physically can't get them in. So this is the next big thing. So I do feel really supported by the Super League clubs, and but getting the lads together like this for a meeting, and tonight's not going to be a fantastic meeting. It's going to be we need improvement, and the players are not going to enjoy it, but they know where they stand, and they'll be ready for a phone call in October.
You can tell that there's an excitement around this series. It's something a bit different. I guess you can kind of sense that in the players straight away as well when you speak to them about England.
Yeah, you can. And everybody's here, and it's a real good atmosphere. We don't have clubs sat together. Everybody's next seat policy, and I don't need to push that. The lads engage with that themselves, and and that's helps us and going to help us in the Ashes series.
You spoke about phone calls in October. You would have obviously had some phone calls or some meetings with some lads who are in this group for the first time. I guess that's one of the really nice parts of the job.
Yeah, it is. The phone call to Owen telling me he was in and thought it was a wind-up, and he thought it was something that one of his mates having him on, and he phoned me back, and listening to Joy, his voice was outstanding. Really, really impressive, and I'm so glad we can. He deserves it. He's fast twitch, tough. He competes. He's confrontational, and so I'm glad I could pick him.
That was Shaun's get-together last night. He invited the media as well, which I think is a very, very good touch. Right, what you can tell, obviously, this squad was 32 players. It's difficult because obviously we're in the middle of a Super League season, but he's trying to get some sort of team spirit going, isn't he? That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and some honesty as well, and that's tell the lads, look, it's not, your job's not done because you've been picked. I love the way that he says, it's not going to be a nice meeting because we're going to tell them that we're playing against the best in the world. We can't have subpar standards. So, and I think the squad that he's put, it's a nice blend. There's some exciting new faces. I love, Owen Trout being in there. I think what he's done this year as a front rower or back rower, he just attacks everything. So there's players like that I'm excited. Can they take that next step? And obviously there's a couple of players in there on merit, but there's also some players not in there. I think Jake Connor's the one that I think, he probably feels a little bit hard done to. The way he's been playing just on this year alone, I thought he'd have been in a 32-man squad for England.
I think this squad's going to look very different at the end of the year. Having spoke to Wayne, he said this is very fluid at the moment. He can add as many players as he wants, or he can get rid of as many players as he wants, but he wants to pick players on form, so they've got plenty of time now between now and the end of the year till the test series to prove themselves. But I think it's great that he's getting them together nice and early, getting in each other's company and getting a bit of team spirit going. But if you want to be in there, you've just got to be consistent and put your hand up and try and be a bit more outstanding.
I think it's brilliant because obviously we're going to hopefully have an exciting climax to the Super League season, and then we've got this 3 test series to look forward to. And you know what it's like playing against the Aussies, of course.
You know what? It's the pinnacle. The rivalry. It's the oldest faces rivalry in rugby league, and I can't believe it's been that long since we've had a 3-game test series against the Aussies. But just goes to show the appetite for it, not just the players, but the rugby league public. Second test sold out, third test sold out. Apparently the sales are going fantastically well for Wembley. If we can sell every venue out, will be absolutely massive. Be a massive boost, shot in the arm for rugby league in this country.
And you played in the last time we played him in 2017.
Yeah, and like Moz said, there's playing for your country and there's playing against the best for your country. And for me, playing against Australia was the most proudest moment I ever put a jersey on. Played them against a couple of times and obviously in the World Cup final, but I think everyone's standards raise. You know you're going to be tested, you know it's going to be harder, and for that reason the expectation of yourself goes up, and I think playing for England at home against Australia, I'm so excited for any of them 32 players plus the NRL boys coming over and supporting that England team, to put that England jersey on home soil in the Ashes. We'll be wrought off, no doubt. We'll be wrought off, but I see so much talent. Shaun Wane.
There'll be 3 cracking games.
He'll get them fired up. Probably, hopefully, not as fired up as Moz was in one test when he was.
He'd bring it up.
But very close.
How many
to that.
seconds again was it?
Just 12. Yeah. But no, I echo what Kev says. Very, very excited.
Maybe it's best you don't do a team talk.
What's that?
It's best you don't do a team talk.
Yeah, I'll leave that one. But no, Super League's very, very exciting. It's going to be a tremendous run-in.
No, England, Australia, like you say. Look,
brilliant.
I've not played for my country, but I know you fellas have both said to me that, what you won in a game was the pinnacle was the England shirt, wasn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And a Great Britain shirt.
Yeah, and like Brownie says, anytime you represent your country is a massive honour, proudest moment of your career. But against the world champs, against the old enemy, it's the highest you can go to.
I think it's going to be a cracking end to the season. Really looking forward to that Test series. Tickets available at Wembley. It's sell out in Everton and Headingley, but there are tickets available at Wembley. Get yourselves down there. Right, let's turn our attention to the Super League this weekend. Thursday night, Castleford versus Huddersfield.
Yeah, and it's at Cass, so both teams will want to bounce back, won't they? I think, the form, we would say Castleford, they've been getting much better, as of Huddersfield, but at home, I think Cass, for me, Danny Maguire will be, probably really positive with his side. I think he would have carried on.
They're playing a hell of a lot better.
They're playing fantastically well. They've got desire defensively. They look dangerous with the ball. But Huddersfield, they're a team that, although they're in the league position that they are, I think the form and the personnel that they've got on the field is much higher than that. So it will be a very close contest, in my opinion. I think Cass probably just favourites.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a bit of a blip from the Giants last week. I think it's a very tough place to go, Catalans, when your form's low anyway. But I think they've been playing okay, last few weeks. So I think it'll be a close contest. But I agree with Brownie. I think home advantage will see the Tigers through after the disappointment of last week. I think they'll get on the winning podium.
Right, Friday we've got a cracker. I'm looking forward to this. Leigh versus Wigan, 4th versus 2nd. That amazing game on the opening day of the season as well. This is a cracker, Leigh versus Wigan.
Yeah, and I can't call it. I think it's 1-1, isn't it? In the played each other twice this year, and the Battle of the Borough. I think it's so important in terms of the top 4. I think if they lose, I think Saints potentially go above them this week. That's how close it is. And we mentioned before that Wigan want to keep hold of that 2nd spot because Leeds are coming close as well. So there is much more at stake than the rivalry of the Battle of the Borough. But for me, I think Wigan are just on the rocks a little bit. I think Leigh could potentially take this one.
Still my favourite game of the year, the 1-0 win for Leigh, the first game of the season.
It was a cracker, wasn't it?
Fantastic. Loved it. Leigh have not been at home for quite a while. They've had the turf relayed. They're expecting a sellout on Friday, so I think that'll play a massive part. But again, it's flip of the coin, this one. But I just think I'll go with Leigh. I just think Wigan have won a couple of games the last few weeks without deserving to win or being a bit fortunate. I think it'll be a different proposition, Leigh, with a full house at home, and I think Leigh will turn up and do a job.
Also on Friday night, Salford versus Warrington.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately you can't look past Warrington, and a big Warrington win as well. This same fixture last year, I think Salford beat Warrington 2 or 3 times last year, and that's how much of a tragic situation it is that I think they beat Saints home and away as well last year, and that team's gone. That club's arguably gone as well. So I expect nothing more than a Warrington win.
Right, Saturday, Hull versus St Helens. St Helens up to 5th.
Yeah, this is massive. A point behind Leigh.
This is 5th versus 6th at the moment as it stands.
And Hull need to bounce back too. I think Hull were as poor as I've seen them all season under John Cartwright at Warrington. Attack-wise anyway, they just couldn't put any sort of play together. But St Helens, it's probably the biggest test they've had barring Leeds. This is on the road. There's not many more tough trips than one to Hull. It's a long way. It's a very vocal crowd. It's a hostile place. I think Saints have got this in them, but they need to start very well.
I think Hull's home form has been terrible all year. I don't know whether they've had one win or the away form has been fantastic. They've had some great wins under John Cartwright. Very much improved, as we know. But the fact that they've not won a great deal at home, I think that will have a psychological effect. Saints are going there confident, and I agree with Brown. I think Saints will get the win. Also
on Saturday, Wakefield versus Catalans.
Yeah, it's Wakefield have been going great. You know, that win against Wigan was a huge confidence boost. They come back up against Hull KR, but who can at the moment? So they'll still start the game very confident. It's a case of what the Catalans do after that great win. You know, I still think at home, Wakey, they've been selling out. They've been going great on and off the pitch. I think Wakey are going to get the win, but I think it'll be a much improved Catalan side. I think it'll be a close one. But I think Wakefield will get it.
Wakefield Catalans.
Yeah, I think it's got all the hallmarks of a great game. I think now Sam Tompkins is back. They've got that leadership. He'll obviously want to put in another performance for his brother Joel, who's the head coach. But under Darryl Powell, I just see Wakefield improving. Some of the young players, Harvey Smith and Oliver Pratt, and some of the import players, KS Faitili, he just looks like a try-scoring machine in the middle. So I expect Wakefield to win this, but I think it'd be an humdinger of a game.
Sunday, we've got a cracker. Hull KR versus Leeds. This is first versus third.
Yeah, it's the tie of the round this in it, and we spoke about how well Hull KR are going. Who can stop them? At the minute, Leeds are confident, they're playing well, so it'll be a fantastic contest. I just think we spoke about all the highlights of Hull KR. I think they're going to be too good again, but it'll be really interesting to see what the
if
Rhinos.
Leeds were to win, do we start seeing Leeds in a bit of a different light?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this will have massive credentials for Leeds if they do get the 2 points. I can't see it, but you know, it's a compelling fixture, and I think it'll be a cracker, but I think Hull KR will be too strong.
I just think at some stage Hull KR have got to have a dip. Even when Wigan were so dominant, the Saints were so dominant, in the middle of the season, after, you know, I expected it maybe last week after the cup final, but it may be this week that emotionally they just get a little bit drained. I think the matchup between Jake Connor and Mikey Lewis is worth the admission.
It's box
alone.
office, isn't it? Yeah.
It's box office, two world-class players. And let's not forget, there's a point to prove there for Jake. And I think Leeds, if they can get under the skin of Hull KR and just unsettle them a little bit, they've got a chance. If they win this, I fancy Leeds to finish in the top two.
There we are. So it's round 17 of the Betfred Super League. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in, fellas. And keep your eyes on our social media channels, because we're going to be announcing some more live games very, very soon. We had an absolute cracker last week. St Helens versus Wigan Warriors women, 22 all it was. More games coming your way. Thanks for watching.